Money. Some have it, some don't. Some dream it, while others live it. Some master it, while most chase it endlessly, like shadows in a fading sunset. But here's the secret. Money isn't just numbers on a screen, printed papers, or equations in a ledger. It's far beyond that. It's the discussions at the dinner table, pride in a paycheck, and dreams shaped by the world we were born into. What if I told you that your financial decisions are less about how smart you are, and more about who you are, the experiences you've lived, and the subtle forces that shape your choices every day? And today, we'll explore the strange, human side of money, the psychology, the luck, the long-term thinking, and the hidden truth that decide who becomes wealthy and who stays broke. This video is inspired by the astonishing book, Psychology of Money, by Morgan Housel. So let's dive into the peculiar and human behavioral side of money. Your approach to money isn't something that happened randomly. It is shaped by generations before you. Parents, economic climates, wars, booms, recessions. Your financial DNA was coded before you even understood what a budget was. We all have very different circumstances towards how we think about money. We are all born into various different generations with parents earning different incomes and holding different ideologies, living in various parts of the world, born into various different social and economic environments with vastly different incentives and opportunities. Take the stock market for example. People born in the 1970s saw the S&P 500 multiply nearly tenfold in their formative years, shaping optimism and a desire to invest. In contrast, those born in the 1950s, who watched markets stagnate during their youth, cultivated caution and distrust towards investing in the stock market. Consider inflation. Teens in the 1960s saw prices skyrocket, teaching them vigilance. Millennials, however, grew up with relatively low inflation, so they worry less, often overconfidently. Every financial choice we make is filtered through these early experiences. It may seem irrational to someone else, but it makes perfect sense to us. No one is crazy. We're just creatures of our surroundings, people, and our environment. Let me give you a real-world example.
Down 1.7% here, a loss of 37 points or so. Apple shares are just getting hammered this morning.
We're down by between 3 and 4.5% generally across these markets. Let's talk about the speed with which we are watching this market deteriorate. We're red everywhere, essentially, down by 4-5%.
We're down over 16%. Dow at the same time has fallen about 18%.
The stock market is now down 21%.
Because we're now down 43%.
What in the world is happening on Wall Street?
In 2008, during the financial crisis, older investors who lived through the 1970s inflation panic sold off stocks in fear, while younger investors held on, seeing opportunity. Their decisions weren't about knowledge in the stock market, it was about how they experienced history. We make financial decisions based on our personal life experiences and our own worldview. We don't make money decisions using just math and logic, but our decisions are shaped by our own life experiences and how we see the world. Be careful with generic financial advice. What seems wrong to others might actually make sense for you. Warren Buffett is a legend, not because he's the smartest, but because he mastered one counterintuitive secret: time. By starting to invest from the age of 10, Buffett harnessed the power of compounding. $1,000 at 8% interest doesn't just earn $80 in a year. Next year, the interest itself earns interest. Over decades, the numbers grow like a snowball rolling down a mountain. By age 30, Buffett had $1 million. By 65, his fortune skyrocketed into billions. If he had lived like most 20-somethings, spending, traveling, and buying cars, he'd have only a fraction of today's wealth. Here's a real-world comparison. Jim Simons, a genius hedge fund manager, compounded at 66% annually, far outpacing Buffett. But he started seriously at the age of 50. The net worth of Simons, however, is $31 billion, which is 65% less than Buffett. How is this possible? The reason is that Simons wasn't able to find his stride in investing until he was 50 years old, effectively giving him less than half as many years to compound his wealth. Time, and the effect of compounding made Buffett richer, not just his skills and knowledge. It's important not to underestimate the power of compounding. No matter how counterintuitive the results of compounding may seem, they should never be ignored. People often focus on short-term gains, overlooking the long-term impacts of compounding, but compounding small gains, repeated over time, is the key to financial success. It's not about making quick high returns, but about consistent long-term growth. Humans are wired for pessimism. Bad news grabs attention, good news drifts by unnoticed. Stock crashes, economic panic, terror attacks, we feel them. And when it comes to money, we think in a pessimistic manner where we are reluctant to take bold steps. However, if you closely analyze how wealth, economy, and infrastructure and technology have evolved, we can identify that things have actually improved over the years. Hence, we need to embrace optimism than pessimism. And we need to realize that good things take time and don't happen overnight. But money matters to all of us, whether we like it or not. When we hear about something bad happening in the economy, we're more likely to pay attention than when something good happens. For example, a 40% decline in the stock market over 3 months is likely to attract attention, but a steady 150% gain over 5 years will most likely go unnoticed. Yet, history shows that things improve over time. Medicine saves millions of lives incrementally. Technology progresses quietly and advances our lives. Understanding this subtle optimism can guide you through to making better financial decisions. Staying realistic, observant, and positive about long-term success is usually the most sensible way to think. It's smart to stay positive and practical when looking at long-term goals. That's what rational thinking really means. Long-term thinking and an optimistic mindset will open up more opportunities. In 1968, out of 300 million high school students worldwide, only 300 attended a small school in Seattle with a computer. One of them? William Henry Gates III, also known as Bill Gates. Another? Paul Allen. And one more, equally talented, tragically died in a mountaineering accident. Luck shapes life. Opportunity is rare. Gates' access to technology created a 1 in a million advantage. Timing, environment, and sheer randomness played a huge role in the birth of Microsoft. Knowing that success comes from both talent and luck helps us stay humble when making money decisions. Be careful not to take all the credit or all the blame. Luck and risk influence every outcome. Knowing that success comes from both talent and luck helps us stay humble when making money decisions. People chase money for happiness. But happiness doesn't live in numbers, it lives in freedom. Morgan Housel, in his book The Psychology of Money, explains us that the freedom to do what you want, when you want, and with whom you want, is the real key to happiness. Yet the richer we get, the less control we seem to have. We trade time for money, and lose both. Studies say it's not income, or status, wealth or real estate that brings joy, it's your control. Control over your own time. Because that's the highest dividend money can pay. Chasing wealth without valuing time? It's like filling a bucket with a hole in it. No matter how much you pour in, it never fills. Real wealth is freedom. And the richest people are the ones who own their time. When you think about spending or investing money, focus on choices that give you more control over your time. Being free to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, is worth more than any expensive thing you can buy. And that brings us to the end of part 1 in this 2-part journey through the book, Psychology of Money, a story about how we think, feel, and act when it comes to money, wealth, and happiness. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to like, share, comment, and subscribe. It will truly help this channel reach more curious minds. And don't forget to tap the notification bell, so you won't miss what comes out next. Part 2 is already waiting for you. Click the video displayed on your screen to watch part 2. And let's keep exploring the lessons that can change the way we see money and life itself. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in part 2.